Hey guys, welcome to episode 11 of Mob of the Week. In last week's episode, we talked a lot about alleviating lower back pain, and I encourage you, as always, to work your mobility systems both up and downstream. So if you go back to previous episodes, you'll see what we did working out the spine, and the T-spine, and the sides of the back. So the next progression naturally is to work downstream. So we're gonna bust out our lacrosse ball and do some smashing, flossing, and contracting and releasing of the glutes. So let's get right to it. Last week we finished up with our feet up on the box doing a low back smash or pressure wave with the lacrosse ball. Now we're gonna use 3 different techniques with the lacrosse ball today, starting with a pressure wave where you're applying steady pressure across or against the muscle fibers. We are going to be doing flossing where you tack down your weight bearing on top of the object, in this case the lacrosse ball, and then moving your joints into flexion, extension, or internal external rotation. So just moving your body around the object instead of the object around your body. And then the third technique that we will also be practicing is contract and release. If this is all new terms for you, go back and watch episode number 1 where we identify the vocabulary and an introduction to mobility. So let's get right to it. I'll drop down onto my low back. I'm going to position my feet up on my box. Now again, last week we focused lower back, but today we're gonna start with the high glute. So the area on the high glute outside of the sacrum, right here, okay? Again, big yellow ball on my big black butt, so you can try it right there. Now we're gonna position the weight down. We're gonna start with the pressure wave, okay? So I can bear down on my right heel and go side to side, looking for any garbage, any knots, any tension, okay? Don't have to be too specific, looking for any one particular point. Everybody's going to adhere and get tacked down in different places, so you really just have to go searching for those pain points. Now, if this is your pressure wave, and you notice something, man, that's really tight, that doesn't quite feel right, you need to relax, let your weight bear down into your lacrosse ball, tack it down, and then floss so we can pull that knee into the chest. So we're not moving the ball anymore, we're moving our body. Or you can go into external rotation and back up and back out and back in. So those are 2 different things that you can do. The third being a contract and release. So if it's just not letting go, it's not allowing you to bear into your lacrosse ball, you can contract your glutes as best as you can, try to squeeze those muscles, and then relax. And then contract, and then relax. Each time, digging for that really gnarly spot, contracting the muscles, and then relaxing. So there it is, technique number 1, or position number 1 for the high glute. All right, our second position is going to go from high glute down into medial glute. So we'll start by putting our lacrosse ball right smack in the middle of your butt cheek, and then pick yourself up so you can drop your weight down on the ball. Now, this might be an eye-opener for you if you haven't been in this position before, but that's a lot of weight, depending, bearing down on that small surface, so be ready for that. So we're going to start with the tack and floss. So I'm tacking down that tissue in my glute, and I'm going to floss that area by letting my knee drop into external rotation, meaning down towards the floor, and then pulling that knee back up toward my midline, in towards my knees. So external and internal rotation, tacking and flossing. And once we've started to loosen that area up, we can go back into our pressure wave, working across those muscle fibers. And I'll tell you what, I've been doing a lot of stair work, so I'm absolutely feeling this right now. Did some nice heavy step-ups yesterday, and those glutes are locked down. So, and that's the point, okay? We're trying to release any tension or build up any sliding surface dysfunction that may be occurring in that posterior chain from your fascia tacking down and those muscles knotting up. So just working that side-to-side pressure wave, or we even go into a north and south pressure wave. And then if you got something that just won't release, that's where we're gonna work our contract and relax. So you can contract your glutes and then relax your glutes. And then contract and hold for a few seconds and relax. Each time you're relaxing, you're trying to sink deeper down into the ball, allowing those muscles to relax and loosen up. So there you have it, position number 2, the medial glute. All right, the third position we're gonna work on today is outside the hip, rolling into the hip flexors. Now this is probably the most painful of the 3 that we're discussing, so just be forewarned. The way this is gonna work is we're gonna start in a similar position to the high glute, high up on the glute, but just to the lower outside of the hip bone, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna position that ball right there, kind of up and behind the top of your pocket, if your shorts have pockets. And we're gonna roll across the side and into the front of the body, looking for those hip flexors. So I'm up here on my side, and I'm going to rock and roll, dropping my chest down towards the ground until that ball rolls into the top of the hip flexors, and then I'm gonna slowly roll back, okay? And again, this is probably one of the most painful ones, so just be ready to hide the pain face because it might look pretty embarrassing. Luckily, I've already done some rolling today to help loosen me up for this. So we're gonna go side to side, and from here, after we've done some pressure waving, we can certainly bear more weight down. We can tack and floss. Okay, this is a really great one by extending that leg back and forth, hinging at the knee, and just really going in and out of the pressure wave, side to side, front to back, contract and release, working through those 3 different techniques. So there you guys have it. 3 different positions, 3 different techniques, 1 tool. All you need is a lacrosse ball and some floor space so you can start relieving some tension in your glutes. And why is this even important? Well, this is going to help us with hip external rotation, hip extension and flexion of the trunk, and of course, lower back pain. Ties right into what we talked to you about last week. Those different positions, we've got the high glute, the medial glute, and our hip smash, and then we've got the 3 different techniques, being the pressure wave, the tack and floss, or the smash and floss, and then the contract and release. So if these terms, again, are new to you, go back and watch episode 1. If you're really digging what you're learning with us here in this series, continue watching. We'll be right back at it again next week, continuing to work down the chain so we can get you firing your best. Now, one last thing before we go, always test and retest. So I will challenge you to spend 5 minutes per cheek and find out if you can get some added mobility and some more power production out of your glutes. So spend 5 minutes on one side, stand up, squeeze your butt, relax, squeeze your butt, relax, and you should feel a significant difference from one side over the other. It should feel like you're getting a much more powerful contraction. And if that's the case, hit that other side, and you're going to notice a lot more power coming out of the bottom of your squat and getting you into better fully extended positions. So that is what we're going to end on. You guys have a rockin' day. Do your mobility work, and we'll see you next time. Aroo!